There's not only head, Kadini de Letoria, Nikin and the Lebanon, Dr. Budagri, Washington, Leha Archer, Ad Kinaske, because Anigan Adi, Kadishande, Hotahoye, Nanahui Ahi, Sohigi, Distatin Hahatori, Hahatori, Edi, Besas name, La Bande, on the Kuyu, she had a kid on the Dinigi, Nahui Ahi, Bidet, Egi, Adi, but get ahead, Nidoyat, Aro today, this thing, today is National Pumpkin Day. Is October 26 on the Natli, though, Benny Natchisha, see, gun, Nikas Chindo, and hidden it, Denigidashi, the Quigashi, Hada deal, Edo, and the Chato, Hadi, Kisto, Tashin, that Tinto, be Kitayada, hot, Edo, be another, not eight, everything that you ask him. Janoshi at the Dosisto. Kana Halloween Bahos Day October 31st. Ishi Hodina Gushin de Kushidena Nedot Kaza Halloween Dodi. Ishi Dada has Yandus has a Yego Skida no Ito Cashin of Kate Hader Kato Ajoba Nethernotka Ado Asa Oshi Ado Dochidivin Daso Dagger Cashin Kate Hader Kato Ebin Nature Hayado de Hointino. Junoshi had a donaton, Junoshi, and that of Caesar Yehoda, and Hedini Dodes. Kunanaki local announcements for the year at the Honnesigi. The Navajo Museum Trunk or Treat is October 31st, 4 to 7 p.m. Ishi Ad Nahido Kato, at the Listo, where a shin fashion Nahido ish. Home dish that the song 928-871-7941. The Nanagi Navigation Animal Control Program Trunk or Treat. Ishi in Nishwan Friday, October 27, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Fish and Wildlife Parking Lot. Ishi Navigation Animal Control because again, Adashin Juno had a donato, Ebita Italy. So ishi home dish that on the side 928-871-6450. Ado Zoo Boo Nabat no. A Navigation Zoo, October 26, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Issue costume contest is the 1 o'clock go. Cutest baby, we see Bazo, Nenegado, Bahatzidegito, Ado, best Disney or best superhero, but Nenegi, Ishi Ado this, Ado Navigation Arts and Craft, Ishi is the 12 to 7 p.m. Trick or treat, Ado 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Hohodash Neto Tatashanite on Netanasai 928-871-4090 extension 333. Ado Navigation Council Trunk or Treat. Adashi President's Office, Vice President Council Ishi Council Chambers but Dahishi 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Ishi Ad and Kashin Naito Ish. Ado Hone Nanigi Missing Navajo People. 31-year-old Brandon Verdelli Begay, last seen October 13, Family Dollar in Kingman, Arizona, 5'5", 160 pounds. Ishi Daudos Neshi Salau 928-871-6111. Ado 43-year-old Chanel Dawn Ridhouse, last seen September 12 in Levine, Arizona, Taco Bell. Ishi Kienta Police, Daudos 928-697-5600. Ado 43-year-old Nathaniel David Davis, last seen October 9, 5'11", 185 pounds. Wonder Rock Police, 928-871-6111. Ado 38-year-old Leighton Don Johnson, last seen Saturday, September 9, 5'10", 170 pounds. Wonder Rock Police, Shimchit out at 928-871-6111. What is happening in the world? Mike Johnson elected new Speaker of the House. Just change the lagi. Yana ranagi for a Congressman Louisiana na ranagi na rado fishing and ye ha one yayes tigi betilia. Fishing that is never going to be hutza. Ado narigi this time in history. Stock market crashed 94 years ago on Sunday. The New York City Stock Exchange, but then again, there's say that's a year we have what's Albanina Great Depression, Quivisha, you've peso das don and the state chigido, equation that ended and the you big gushing about the better that energy band that I made as the quivishin a hot order, but whole and then of the end they asked to say yeah go binks today us and then she be peso start and it that steam. I don't want that none again. Navajo life lesson to grow the highest and go the furthest. Everyone needs a mentor. Chelsea Baker, award-winning business mentor. Chaide da is dod listo, chaide da asiego, china nishisto stis, nizrago do lechin zoe, hede da, as tuido sani hede a negi, kikidez do, between just kito, between a just negoe, nizrago, nijino, nila nishidi, nisha noshim, evoto, Navajo life lesson. This week's accomplishment bathroom additions 150 million contract by the NECA Navajo Engineering and Construction Authority 1,500 Manila Hawan Bidla dot Aswa Hawan Binia Peso Belasa Station Adasha Yego Division of Community Development Trees and that these nations Ronago Yego the Hawan Bidla dot Asto Yan Dal Tahigi either than litigation Yego you did this not so than not so though but the next cut on the side Division of Community Development Honda Hotosne Eisi arju bejit aba kaigi do neka shi bandat nishi do hodu da do kar do hada do alta bet no shi nda dit nish eisi asi yo de lago the never be ka again so much just kiss out of next week do shi asi ye chi de nish eisi hot order do this eisi hodo 150 million bathroom additions. Do sovereignty, Navajo tax office reports revenues. But the she in Office of Navajo Tax Commission because anagi effing she 74,000 tax and underneath the because she fuel access tax that anagi she last week hundred that do basing on underneath the do be in she now hold just Human Research Board Conference. She Navajo Nation Human Research Review Board Conference October 18 to 19. 150 people nahas kado the kuigashiba nahat ainda the behavioral health and sahake so diabetes as chinias do mado hayanagido public health or that and again asiego ban nahast in do shi aja in that nishigi Tlahazlin Tuba City Wellness Center reopens. The Navajo Nation Special Diabetes Program for Indians reopened. Tuba City Wellness Center, Asia and Lithia, Cash Chindo and Higate and Denegisha, Yego Chidin, Idolis Ado, Ishihoto, Najuno Lit going to negotiate, Yego do they had no she, Eden Dashnish, Ado Ade and Lithia, Ado Casino, Navajo Gaming Regulatory Office, Western Navajo Fair. Yego Gaming Regulatory because anigi no that bingo the hatnegi do casino hit or the hajob in the hatne do that anigi October 20th at the fairgrounds and the Baltan days in Dashnish. A major projects but the initiative and this inside but the initiative Hale Dolan Jano FEMA training is at the Department of Personnel Aja Debinezio Swasigi Aja FEMA trainers and Hekado Hale Dola Hadahot Inatan Jano and the deed needs no in Dash the Shishiaj a large Shabbat the Hanegi Commission on Emergency Management the Bikaha at that Negido Hazard Mitigation Plan but no the issue. Standards in Islam, Navajo Nation, Yadid Nishigi Joth as Chen. Mas not sources came days there should be the niche to live. Division of Behavioral and Mental Health Service closure to Sober Living Center opening in Chinle. Dr. Branzer, he was in the Department of Health. The Navajo Nation's first Sober Living Center, Chinle Treatment Center. Monday go now October 30th. Admissions in November 6th. Charlee because aniki Asia photo nazne the U.S. EPA Region 9 and Travel Operations Committee. Ishe Aje largest Senate Nashigi Executive Director Stefan at City. Ishe Region 9 has late do Fajo Shatit Leso Halet all the RTOC Chair Ron and Omen Auction Tribe at that Enigi. Asiego in Dash Nisto Dahat Ahegi Dashin Hajo Skita Nisha Dele Arashin Janos Kate need the Shodo in this Nahodo. Ado Navigation Fiscal Recovery Office She Tom Platero Shana the She Asi Beso Washington do Control Yaje Nasco da no dehote no baby has net do 42 approved chapter regional expenditure plans so it'll be las neto Nasco Nadist new business units about 18.8 million Nasco not Adon the delegate Norman Begay ARPA project is that Enigida Hajo Asiego Nasco Hodazia Ado Tuesday and a weekly chapter subrecipient coordination meeting is Tuesday now this is a chapters beso which Hodazia Aigido but Hodadoti Adashi Mintahasneto Mintaha Asher Ado Division of Natural Resources which is on site providing ongoing public awareness. Diego, Mike Colonna, Division of Natural Resources. Aji Western Navajo Fair, Thahasnata, Bandad, Michigan, the Baz and Days on Qua Kayatapan had Enigido home site list of Shahadr Lord Nesto, Height all the Chicago, West Enegi, Adi at the Hondon Eshi, that flashing Adi, Haddo Kahada, Basi or Kedon, Ka or Wododa. Out of strategic planning, divisions near completion. Ishe Wajia Nasco being Dahuit Adrif Don Nasco, be Dahodon, the art and divisions begin this taking. Halit Ola Nandisto, Hailan the Zago, Nesnan, Hatin, 13 figure, K. Haila I is not Nisto Lichanegi. As Chodas Nahe Hotel, Nanderson Sagi, but the initial hotel was. Aria for the Sanda Hotel, so the Western Navajo Fair, but Nenegi, say, chink now, Hofe, Sagia, Archel Kedana, Denegi Adia, Size Lane, but in the you, the Nantado, Kagido, get the Ditney, that is of the pain neighbors, Nana, Adia, CA of Miss Western Navajo, and they dig get now, didn't say Williams with another. Aron the she the evident nadet or the bit that neat hadanegi ada fitness challenge that a has need a Stanley 71-year-old Lily John no and you know Sonny left 1 mile at Sados or the desk or the queers and what yeah a hard on the rodeo did shake in a general net and then again and you know that a last literal log that another a little you know the ACM the Fielding University that did not is a large but yet not the she saw scholarship that many Rose Graham Gades English Dr. Barbara Mick Fielding University of an fake kind don't Mafana Ajin Ado Hajodo let Halit all Hajot in the deed in the store did a Satonas so started the list was Sapi Nandish as Enegi had it all upon Nasco they had Enegi a in the seat out on the Attorney General U.S. Attorney General Rick Garland is odd regional Washington with Chasile to Budget Shanta Lishida Asiego and the Sinkin Howie I Sorry, Ethel Branch of the Holland that Mike Anderson, the public safety chief, is Angie, the chief police Daryl Noon, the deputy chief, Leonard Red Horse, the odd Asiego, Sincasalado, odd in it, because Annie, the hood, and the whole AG that Asiego, we found that child, no, either a bit or this, no, it, this side to Davia. Ado. I did not just get the more now. Just get happy Halloween at neither this. They show First Lady though Sister says Anigida, I quite answer because staff on Kahido Kadam Soche, but then I don't digi Halloween donation, you know, that had the yard on this out ocean. Yet it that the store now nation service outreach. She Wednesday, November 1st, so she Albuquerque, she had her one homeowner assistant program, happening. She added the Burma Fiscal Training Center, 4 to 7 p.m. She added down the solo list added Albuquerque to the kid down the Tenegi. She had to Shahed Gadini to the Thado, Yat Ito Shahed on Generation, the hostel. Hardishin that he did say so yet it he did so that maybe a head or Hagon at what it the Lebanon Dr. Nygren non could be needless Hagon it. Yet they scared us now that I saw so get head could they need the Toroya
9 minutes
they
each.
can the Lebanon Dr.
9 minutes each. If I go 8, you'll take 10. Okay. All right. Though I'm going on my third week of being a Division of Community Development Director. Though before that, I was here at also the President and Vice President as a Deputy Chief of Staff. So good afternoon, everybody, for all you viewers out there. Community development initiative. Let me just do a overview of what programs that we have within Division of Community Development. A lot of times we have people calling also the president, vice president, or other offices. Now, so let me just do an overview of community development. Within our admin department, DCD admin, we have a technology department. As you can see, if you're familiar with Division of Community Development website, you can see all the chapter budgets and then also all the program budget online. You can view them online. All the chapters and all departments within community development, they do the budget online. They do it at the chapter, and then they send it to my office over here. And then we send it to Office of Management and Budget. So we're doing budgets online. And there's other information that are on the DCD website. Another good information on that website is chapter balances. A lot of times we have constituents that call over here asking for based on the chapter so one of the information on that website is chapter balances. And then also you can view each chapter's budget, and then also view each of the programs budget, see what monies they have in each of their line item. Though the other department within admin is rule addressing. A number of years ago, we started that back up. Though New Mexico, most of the counties or have completed their rule addressing on the New Mexico side. Though we got funding assistance from the state legislators, although Arizona, certain places were done with rule addressing. Although chapter chapter the one the CLUPSI members are the ones that are naming these street addresses and all that. Naming of street. It's very important that we have rule addressing. And we had 2020 census operation that we had on the Washington, that based on nature. Within the Navajo Nation, there's always a question. So when we're doing census, on the map, we can easily identify a housing unit. And then that housing unit identifies all the people that are living within that housing unit. Computer be it now. So that's very important. The other importance to rule addressing is if there's ever an emergency, ambulance. I know that's allowed. The rule addressing even within administration. Although the other department that within our division is Capital Project Management Department, CPMD. That department is mainly project management. We have a lot of projects within New Mexico, probably a good over 100 projects. That's in New Mexico that based on data. Arizona, based on the project, but not Utah, and that's no based on no, we have a lot of projects too that we have over at the communities. Although need a based on that is our price no Washington based on hinge project you get do anda beta is nishito lehti hodina go aje that nishito le aje that is capital project management department clinic. Although the other department that we have is community housing infrastructure department. It's no aje ito because di hawan hawan again but initially one of the programs under this program is housing improvement program. It's no BIA that based on college because those squid sani large the elderly although one but that although and community block grant. It's not hot that based on mainly for infrastructure, power line, water line that the sewer that again every year grant you got based on Washington that need based on that's ARPA money is no 50 million so one give big hole yeah the one even do no chapter but in the aita home site lease be the no ado aita infrastructure give a it's a large not net dolly next week the RG bahasna dolly opera na raji kadeya or programs even kilhasna in all the other programs that are within our division is administrative service centers. There's 8 service centers. Their main function is to provide technical assistance to chapters. Chapter there's 8 centers out there. There used to be called LGSC, local government center. A number of years ago, we changed their name and added 3 more centers to it. So at the chapter, they're mainly operating under Title 26 LGA, which gives authority to the chapter over local matters. So there's non-LGA certified chapters out there. Although we have 45 certified chapters, they can go into contracting or do ordinance. They can do that. Other 5 management systems, other community land use plan. So those 8 centers out there. Although the other one is the 110 chapters within community development. So right now, I just went over the programs within community development. That way, you sort of know what departments are within community development. So next time, I'll probably go over the ARPA projects that we had within community development. Thank you again. God bless you.
Thank you. My name is Tico Charlee. I'm of the Nygren. I'm the Telecommunications Regulatory Executive Director. And I wanted to kind of give a quick update of things that were going on. If you remember about a month ago, we've been working with the federal government to do a nationwide test of what they call the emergency alert system and wireless emergency alert system. About a month ago, everybody's phones went off around 12:30 in the afternoon. And the reason why that was done is when they did this test, it was conducted by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with the FCC. And the purpose was to ensure the system in place is effective, meaning that the public is going to be warned about any kind of emergency at a high national level. It went through all the cell phones, all the everything over the radio, over the TV, the television on there. And other portion of this is when we were talking about that we're going to do it in like a sequence, but we said no. If a national disaster ever happens across the United States, we want everybody to be notified exactly at the same time. So they finally went with that. So we kept pushing that. The other portion is if they have another phone that's sitting aside or is hidden or whatever on there, that alert system already alerted that phone also, so we know things that are going on. And the only reason we're doing that is also is you have people out there with domestic violence and abusive relationships and stuff like that, but we still want them to know that they have some way of communicating out through that on there. And when that is going on, we also had what we call our NTIA grant. And the NTIA grant was put out about a year ago or so, over a year ago. When that went out, there was 50 million that was handed over to NTUA. And NTUA was doing this. They had what they call working with FirstNet and all your first responders, your I guess all your mobile data links and medical workers, emergency personnel. It was all given to them for FirstNet on there. FirstNet works with AT&T across the reservation also. And when we put that out on there, the grant was pushed through. As of last week, we found out that everything's going to be put in. The equipment has been purchased. And this week or next week, they're going to try to push in 30 vehicles per day to get equipped with this on there. NTA has really been pushing this to do the Navajo Nation to upgrade the public safety vehicles. And that's to enhance the mobile, I guess, broadband connectivity that the award was given to them. And in that, there's a lot of other stuff that's going to be put out to make it a lot easier. The Navajo Nation has what they call a 2.5 spectrum radio that the Navajo Nation does own. In that, on there, there's what they call 3 channels that go with that. The last channel of that is reserved just for the emergency personnel only. And that's to give them the free access to go across in case a disaster does come, they have availability to get out. This is what they call with FirstNet that is going out. And when this thing happens, we do have a few that have that right now. It's also being tested again to enhance out there, and they're working with all the service providers out there so they can do what they call co-locations or work under towers, so we can better enhance that as it's going across the Navajo Nation. And when this thing does, it helps to better improve our police department connectivity and getting out to the rural area. And that's what I'm really concerned with, is to get out there to see if it works. And believe me, I do drive out to a lot of these remote areas and test the phone to see if it's working. Some don't, some does. And I would call the service provider, why not? How can we get it working out there? because there's always that emergency of the unknown, and winter is coming along, you never know. So this is where we're working these things out right now with the service providers on there. And as you well know, one of the biggest portion we have is with our ARPA funds. We had a company with OSO Internet Solution. They were awarded $6 million, and they're out there right now. And this is in the Rama area. The unique part about this is they already started construction. They were already approved, and when they're doing that, right now they're working on getting into all the homes down there into the remotest area. And there's quite a few people. I was really surprised south of Rama in the remoteness area down there. And we looked at that area, and this is part of the grant funding that they did have. The other portion was Smith Bagley. Smith Bagley, Cell One, is upgrading all their 2, 3, up to 5G. And by Thanksgiving of this year, they're putting up a tower over here by the fairgrounds. Usually it was just a remote unit. Now it's going to be a full-blown tower, and they're going to test the Winter Rock area for 5G completely, and then they want to start hitting all the major communities and start working their way out as quick as they can on there. So they gave me a deadline of possibly trying to hit this in completion of next summer of next year. The biggest thing that we're having a problem with right now with all service providers is getting all the equipment in. So we're working that out right now. We're working with different vendors and how to help them streamline it a lot quicker so I can get this thing out and done and out there so we can hurry and spend that money out there. But they were awarded about 21 million. Sacred Wind Communication was awarded 9 million. And that was to basically to do the same thing, but to build out more fiber and what they call fixed wire solution in the New Mexico area right now. And the connectivity, and my biggest portion, a lot of these things always have redundancy, meaning that if a line gets cut, and everybody knows what happens when the line gets cut, like in the other, I think it was down in Laguna, when it did on there, the whole city of Gallup went out. But the Navajo Nation never went down because there was another route it was taken. And when that was going on, it was via going through Sacred Wind, and everything on the Navajo Nation was still out. And a lot of the people that were in Gallup were racing over to Church Rock and the surrounding areas so they can get Wi-Fi connectivity. But we also, now the city of Gallup has been working with us to see if we could get their services of certain ones, like the hospital, which is going to be attaching to Sacred Wind Communications also, the GIS, Gallup in the Medical Center. And in that, we wanted some redundancy to go out just in case again, because my biggest issue was we got a lot of elderly, a lot of people that come in and they have their debit cards. They come in with that on there with no cash. So we have to look at other areas to see what we can do to get it down. Our leadership are really concerned with the elderly and the young children that are out there. And that's one of our biggest pushes on there, is to communicate that out there. As we're doing that, the broadband office also conducted, they had a small grant that was given them to go up into Utah area to also look at all the chapters, and they did what they call a digital equity portion on there, where they were looking at a lot of what the needs are in the community on there and what kind of equipment they have, the understandability of how they're doing their digital portion and dealing with the computers. And as a lot of us are, especially us older people, that we can't fix it. We give it to our grandchildren. Our grandchildren can fix it in less than 5 or 10 minutes. And you ask them, what did you do? They say, I don't know. This is just how you do it. So we found out that when we go out there, a lot of them just didn't understand. So they're going out there and they're doing a basic broadband, what they call the broadband 101. And really what they're doing is they're really looking at what the community needs are. So they're bringing all that back. And this is part of working with the 3 different states. And we're going to be doing the same thing on there. And it's kind of blending across the reservation right now. So it's really picking up speed as we're talking right now. So that's the kind of input that I have. I wanted to share that with you on there, but I'm really excited about getting everything out to the first responders because a lot of times these first responders are not even given a thank you. But to all the veterans, to all the first responders, medical responders, I just wanted to say from our group here with the Navajo Nation, the OPVP office, to say thank you to the first responders. Sometimes you don't hear that, and a lot of them just want to hear that. Thank you again, and be safe out there. Thank you again.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Yat e anotho koro dice not agidi e ya the Navajo Nation Vice President and non hiditne Richelle Montoya. I'm here today at the Office of the President and Vice President's Executive Offices in Winter Rock, Arizona. So happy to be with everyone. Again, I am Richelle Montoya, your Navajo Nation Vice President. And just a quick update on what I've been doing. A lot of it has to do with being in the communities of the Northern Agency, and then just this past week in Western Agency. It was such a wonderful opportunity to be out with our constituents and with our relatives out there. Yo e wa ba hajo e hitla hilne do yat e da hiti ni go e ya di kwagi e hinna ne ka go ta do jin le not ani nas do le Tuba City di we had the opportunity to speak with the constituents out there. A lot of issues happening, a lot of different solutions that you all have for the different issues that you have. And I'm really happy that you bring those to us along with the issues that you see out there. Let's say, for example, overgrazing. How many livestock are out there between you and your relatives and your neighbors, and just the different types of livestock that are out there, and you possibly have a solution on how to get the grass back out on the lands that are out there. And so it's very appreciative when we hear those type of solutions when you bring your issues to us when we're out and about. I'm very happy to say that I was with the Western Navajo Fair this past week. It was such a good opportunity again to be out there, and it was such a wonderful event. Congratulations to Fair Manager Mike Sixkiller and your staff, everybody and anybody that had a hand in orchestrating and getting the fair off the ground, and just everything that happened this past week. It was such a probably chaotic for you, but it was good from the eye of the public. We had different events that happened on the fairgrounds and off of the fairgrounds. I hope that everybody, all our small business entrepreneurs out there, were able to get the best that they possibly could for the products that they produce for our youth and everything that we have. And unfortunately, as I mentioned to a few of my friends that are entrepreneurs, I was not able to get to any of the booths out there, whether it be on Hopi or on Navajo, on the fairgrounds, off the fairgrounds. It was just such a busy time for me that I wasn't able to get out there. And it one of the other events that I was working with and enjoyed watching was the Miss Western Navajo pageant. Acacia Williams is your new Miss Western Navajo. She's such a delightful young lady, and all of the girls that are the women that ran for the title were such wonderful representatives of their families and their communities. There was 4 contestants, and of course we can only have one Miss Western Navajo. And thank you to Dayanoa for serving her 1-year term as Miss Western Navajo, to her and her family out there. Her mom is former Miss Navajo Nation, Dr. Victoria Yazzie. And I just want to say thank you to them for their service for 1 year, and looking forward to what you have in store for the rest of your life, Dayanoa. And just want to say that this was our last fair for the Navajo Nation, and all of the royalty for each of the agencies have been selected. We've seen them all over social media, and let's keep them in our prayers for positiveness. And hojo got eya de kato dai bayat hegoshi eya bansede kesto lecho yo eya nanishit and tsagi, and amado ajad, the family members that help support these young women. I just want to say thank you and have a wonderful year, and make sure that everybody is happy, and make sure that your jobs, your schooling, and everything is a priority. And then another event that happened during the Western Navajo Fair, of course, was the powwow and the song and dance. There was Elderfest and Kids Day. That was such a wonderful experience, especially greeting all the little kiddos as they were coming through the front archway of Western Navajo Fair. They were so excited and so happy to see anybody and everybody that were greeting them at the gate to come through. And I think they were the only ones that followed the clear bag policy at Western Navajo Fair. But it was, again, a wonderful event that day. It was a Thursday that we were out there. And then, of course, we had the concert lineup for Western Navajo Fair that happened. Even though you're standing there waiting for the concerts to start, we do have constituents that come up to us and start a conversation about some issues that they see. And so any opportunity you have to come up and talk to myself as your vice president, I am more than welcome for that. As one of my Mayajas said to me, I always see that vice president is being talked about as rude and mean. And I always ask, are you talking to her while she's eating? Because that's the only time that she won't talk to you. So if I'm having a meal, then please excuse me for a few moments as I have my meal, and then I'll be more than happy to talk to everybody and anybody that comes up to me. And so, again, Western Navajo Fair is in the books. Congratulations to anybody and everybody that had a hand in it. And thank you so much to law enforcement, EMS, the ROTC that was there directing traffic. Thank you so much to all the sponsors, Intech, Greenview, the different divisions of the Navajo Nation, Pepsi. It was such a wonderful event. We'll wait till next year for the next set of fairs. Of course, now we have our rodeo athletes that are in the city of Las Vegas, Nevada, competing at the Indian National Finals Rodeo. I just want to wish each and every one of you good luck and safe activities, safe competition. And thank you so much for all the dedication you and your families have done to get to this point in your careers, and just have a great time and have fun, like we tell all of our little kiddos. It is a competition, but have fun and learn from it, or be triumphant in it. And for all our fans that are out there traveling to Las Vegas, be safe, have fun, and just cheer on our Navajo and all of our competitors out there. For the rest of us that are not going out there, we just wish everybody luck out there. One of my projects that I inherited when I became vice president of the Navajo Nation was the windmills that are out there on Navajo that are not working. And there was one in particular that this young woman came up to me to talk to me about at a conference. And she gave me all the information, the pictures, how long it's been down. I believe it's her grandfather or her father that used to be a council delegate, that he'd been working on it. And then she started asking questions about it and asking for assistance with the previous administration. And when I brought the information to our water resources office, which of course, as I always mention, is spread thin with lack of employees, they emailed us yesterday and let us know that that particular windmill has been fixed and it is working now in Western Agency. It's such a joy to hear that type of information. As we all know, windmills are far and few between nowadays. It's not something that we use a lot of across the United States of America, or probably even globally. But we still have them here on Navajo Nation, and just know that our staff are working on getting these issues that they have with the windmills fixed. Some unfortunately are not able to be fixed because of certain parts that aren't made anymore. But again, our staff, they're doing their best to get the services back up for our livestock and our livestock owners, so they don't have to bring water from far distances. So that's my good news for this week, is that we have a windmill that is up and running that wasn't before. And I just want to tell everybody again to be safe out there. Have a wonderful week, upcoming week. And today I was at Twin Arrows at the Deneb El Tkat School Board Association conference. I spoke with some of our school board members from across Navajo Nation and encouraged them to continue to be the policymakers, the best that they can provide for our Navajo students across Navajo. And so parents, keep doing your best, keep sending your kids to school, and kiddos, keep doing your best at school. We need you in our Navajo Nation government offices. We need you in our schools. We need you in our different departments, our divisions here on Navajo Nation. We need our workforce at 100% so that we can continue to do the work that we need to do for you out there. Again, my name is Richelle Montoya. And I'm humbled and honored to be your 11th Navajo Nation Vice President. Have a good day, everyone. Hagona.
Good afternoon. Yate. Shkwasane. Yate. Kodo Atlan Ado. Good afternoon from the capital of the Navajo Nation, Window Rock. It's an honor to be here with you this afternoon. Shay Tony Skrelunas, for you that don't know me, come from up on Western Navajo, a place called Big Mountain. And Lithuanian Tachin, Bashin, and Tlislandashiche, to English, Dashanale, without the Nenshle, English Lithuanian Dashanale. But I was, like many of you, of our people across Navajo, I was raised by my great grandparents. And for me, it was really fortunate. I was raised by my great grandparents, Shimasando, Shiche Sanago. And I come from a family of sheep herders. My grandmother, Mano Yazi, and my grandpa, Dene Yazi, great grandmother, Kit Nihiyapitse. She's her dad was a foot racer, and then my great grandpa, Jaden Schazi, and they had many siblings, all in the Big Mountain. But that's who I am, and why I wanted to talk about that is I was in DC last week, and I had to present to a bunch of foundations and also representatives from the federal government, Department of Energy, U.S. Small Business Administration, and I really wanted to portray who we are as people, So and part of it was that they had me open this conference. It was called the Just Transition Conference, and so I told them the story of my childhood, and how that really guides the work I do. And from my childhood, it's really we live very simple. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water. We had I only spoke Navajo as a kid, And we didn't have a car, but I see a lot of our kids, they still live like that. They still grow up like that. And for me, I didn't think that somehow I was less than anybody else. I always felt very loved. I felt very, it felt like everything we had was plentiful, because we I didn't need toys. I had the sheep. I had the horses. I had the love of grandpa, the Hogan, and all its constant work. There was no idle time, and I feel like that really was something that when you grow up like that, and then you go to like college, eventually later on in my teens, I went to college, and I had an identity crisis. There was a time when because I grew up like that, and I was kind of a what we call like a John kid, and I felt inferior, and I think that stems from our own internal oppression. When you go to, for me, the nearest school was like Tuba City, and you go there and you experience kind of internal like racism by our own people, mainly, that the city kids, they don't, they make fun of our accent, they make fun of our clothes, our hairstyles. And so that really, for me, I had to leave the reservation. I asked my parents and my family that I wanted to go to school off reservation, because I felt kind of that impression was oppressive, and I really was a smart kid. I was the top of my class at Tuba City, and so I went off, and yeah, I did really well. But when I got to college, all of a sudden I was around like the country club kids, and I was in business school, and there was hardly any natives, let alone Navajos, in business schools. So I felt that that kind of internal conflict in me, like I felt inferior. It's like, oh man, I'm not like these guys. They have all the advantages. And at the start of my college career, that really resulted in failure. I flunked out. I remember I was top student in one class, which was archery. So I was the best archer at college. And but the rest of my classes, I just didn't have any, I couldn't make sense of it. So I went home, and I went back to my sheep herding. My great grandmother was sick, and I was around my grandmothers, and really one day I helped with a ceremony, and this was my aha moment. It was like a fire dance, and if you ever helped with something like that, I helped my uncle gather the medicines. You're cooking nonstop. You're designing the whole ceremony. You have all these singers, all these dancers, sand painters. You have this conductor. Just a massive amount of activities, singing, ceremony, ancient songs, all night sings. And I really, the aha moment was, these guys have been learning this their whole life. This is their whole passion. They're 100% in, and this is how they were able to really build their lives, and they're confident, they're competent, And for me, what I did is I then translated that to going back to college, being who I was. I used to have really long hair, then I cut it, when I had my identity crisis. I cut it, and I really try to act, I tried to get rid of my accent, my Dene accent, and but that wasn't who I was, and so I started celebrating. I started telling all these stories, and that's who I was as a kid, and really proud of our culture. I grew at Yale like our president, President Nygren. That really that changed my life immediately. I was like the class, I graduated the top student in the College of Business at NAU. From flunking out to that, I was a student leader, was one of the founders of the National Business Association, American Indian Business Association. I was the president. I started companies in grad school, really founded a career I'm in today. And I was telling this story, and one of the other big moments in my life was one of my professors, my finance professor in my MBA, my master's program. She says, Tony, you'd be really good for this job. There's a tribe, they're out in the Grand Canyon, on the other side of the Grand Canyon. They're called the Kaiba Paiute, you know. They just turned down a waste incinerator. They just really, I guess what happened was the tribe had no revenue sources, like most of us, or most of other tribes. But all these environmental groups, they came to them and told them, all these nearby communities came to them and told them that they shouldn't do this, you know, and that there's a better way. Well, they rejected it, right? They turned it down. And then the question was, what's the better way, you know? They turned down this multi-million-dollar opportunity. And so that's where I really got an internship, you know, and I got to work with them.